You want,
Daddy.
you want what?
I want you.
Get out of the fridge.
I want you.
Yeah, don't touch it. Leave it alone.
I
We'll have that later with dinner. Okay, thank you. You're gonna pout? Okay.
Dad, look at this.
Let me know how that works out for you. Nice. So, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Cleaning today. And I haven't really spent a lot of time working on the heat mapping stuff or the site because I've been so busy with work coming in, thank God, that I haven't really had to work on the site. But I do want to get back into that because I want it to be a little bit more consistent and more predictable. Between this and all the work we have at the Hauser Design Group, my plate is very full, and that's a good thing, but I need to keep growing and improving. So with the last one, what we found was that, oh, did I mention I'm cleaning today? See my disaster? With the last ad set that we ran, we found that, you know, just throwing $99 at an ad with a stock image is really not an effective strategy.
Start over. All right.
But that said, the 50 or so clicks that it did generate, it was 50 or 75, I don't remember, or 40. Anyway, the clicks that it did generate, I don't know what those people did when they hit the site. And so one of the things that we're going to look at today is heat mapping. I found a service. I've heard a lot about it. I've never used it. It's called Hotjar. They have a free option, so we're gonna test that out, and I'm going to install the free version of Hotjar on my Squarespace site and see how easy that is. And so then after that, we can decide what our next step is, and we'll keep repeating this process and keep improving until we get to the point where we have something, like I said, that's more sustainable and more predictable. Let's dig in a little more. Oh, Merry Christmas again.
So, wanted to shoot a follow-up video to the previous video in the series where we talked about setting up an ad campaign. Now, one of the issues that I had with that campaign was that once users hit my site, I wasn't sure what they were interested in. I wasn't sure what they were clicking on. All I could see was that I was generating some traffic, but I didn't really get any useful information beyond that. And so that's a major problem. That's something that we're going to want to fix. So today what we're going to do is we're going to install Hotjar, which is a heat mapping tool, amongst other things I'm learning. And we're going to install that on my Squarespace site. Heat mapping is essentially, think of your website as a static object in front of you. When somebody goes to use that object, when they go to use that website, so let's say they're on a desktop, as they're looking around and moving their mouse or maybe clicking on things that are or are not buttons, heat mapping records that for you. So you can see if people are confused. So if there's a section on your site it looks like it should be clickable and people are clicking on it, but it doesn't do anything, that's an issue. That's something that heat mapping can show you that you can then fix. But what I want to see in this instance is I have that big button on my homepage that says book a call. After I ran those ads last time, I don't know if people were actually clicking on that button to book a call and then not booking because I was asking for payment up front, but I want to see what areas of my homepage are popular. That's important. What's actually getting people's attention, if anything at all. Now in the future, we're going to do some custom landing pages for a couple of different ad campaigns as I start to build more content up that's going to be more valuable that we can package up and send out to people and start to build an email list even further and all of that. But this is kind of just to get up and running with heat mapping. Now, typically for the business, when we do stuff at the Hauser Design Group, I use a service called Crazy Egg, which is really great, but they don't have a free option. So because the whole name of the series is marketing your website for $99, we're trying to do this in the most economical way possible. And so I'm very anxious to try Hotjar out and see what's available on that free plan. And so that's what we're going to install. So I'm going to record myself doing it. Should be pretty straightforward. And again, this is Hotjar on a Squarespace site. So that's what we're going to be going through right now. So I'm going to share my screen and let's jump into this. Okay, so right here we have my site. This was where I directed traffic to with the last ad campaign that we did. There's a lot of good stuff on here, and I've had several calls booked since the last ad campaign ran, but those are people that have just found me organically. The site is not generating a ton of traffic. One of the issues I have with Squarespace is that the blogging function is pretty archaic. I don't really like it. WordPress is much, much better in terms of blogging and then organizing your content. This is what it looks like when I'm logged in, and I have my settings and things over here on the left, and this is Hotjar. So it's just hotjar.com, and they have a free option. There's other things that they offer where I'm probably going to get onto a paid plan, but for right now, we're just going to do basic. So instead of clicking on my free trial, where they're probably going to give me this one, I'm going to click on basic, say start now, and we'll fast forward through this so that I don't bore you with. So select your role. Consultant. Yeah, will you use this account to manage clients? No, I will not. Organization name, fix your site. I will go ahead and I'll take their articles and tips on improving. That's fine. That's probably their email marketing stuff. So let's say next. Site URL. The site URL is fixmysite.co or fixmysite.net. Site type. It is a consulting site, but it's also a personal site. We're going to go with consulting. That's fine. And we'll say start using Hotjar. Okay. So my hope is that, like when we use Crazy Egg for our customer sites, we have to install a tracking script. You're almost ready to understand your users. Let's go. Eliminate the guesswork with recordings. So they are, okay, so this is cool. So not only am I going to see where people click, they're also going to record certain visits. So if somebody comes in there and their mouse is moving around and they're scrolling the page up and down, I'll actually be able to watch those recordings. Create your first heat map report. That's fine. Collect feedback on your homepage. That's what we want to do. Ask respondents for their email address. I don't really want to do this right now, so we're going to skip that and then get the whole team on board. That's fine. We're going to skip that. Okay, your Hotjar tracking code. To get started with Hotjar, add this tracking code to your site into the head of every page you want to track visitors on. Okay, so right here is a button that says copy to clipboard. Now, if I was working on a WordPress site or if I was working on a site where I was manually editing my code, I would be able to take my index or any of my other pages and copy and paste this script into the head portion. See where it says the head? So we would place it into the head portion of the code. Since I'm using Squarespace, my only option to edit this code or these templates is I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm going to jump over to advanced, and then I'm going to go to code injection. Now here's my header. So you can see I added a Google meta tag to verify some Google service, I don't remember. And I'm going to put my Hotjar tracking code in here, and I'm going to save it. That's saved. So then what I'm going to do in order to test this is I'm going to copy a snippet of this code right here. I'm just going to copy a snippet. I'm going to go back to my site and refresh. And then I'm going to look at the code. And I don't know if it's actually going to show this in my video here, but I'm going to hit Control U since I'm in Chrome. I'm going to look at the code itself, and I'm going to hit Control F to find. And then I'm going to say, okay, here's my Hotjar tracking code. This is the script that we just put in here. And this is what I'm looking for. I want to make sure it's in the head of my code. So this right here with the caret and then the / means this is the end of the head section before we go into the body section. So right here is the end, and my script is right here. So this script is installed. Now, the big question is, did that install site-wide? I think it did. So I'm going to go to I'll go to the About Me page. So this just loaded up. I'm going to hit Control U to look at my code again. I'm going to hit Control F to find. Then I'm going to hit Control V to paste. So there it is, Hotjar tracking code. So it's there as well. So the only other thing I want to check is the blog itself. I want to look at some of the blog articles and make sure they're here. So here's the our last post. Control U, Control F, Control V, and there it is. So that Hotjar tracking code is now installed across the site. So I'm going to hit OK, And right here, there's a button that says verify installation. This is very similar to Crazy Egg, so I'm going to hit that now, and hopefully it goes out, fetches that home page, and looks to see if the code is installed. Installation successfully verified. Good. Let's see here if we create, I'm going to make sure that we have a heat map set up on the home page, because that's the most important thing that we want to track right now. So I'm going to come over to here to heat maps. I've never used this before, so I'm literally clicking around and trying to figure this out as we go. So it says my first heat map status is collecting data. So that must have been set up when we were setting up the service itself. We'll go to the work with me page. So this is just my contact page, and there's a handful of fields in my form here. I don't think that's too much of a deterrent, but it could be. So we're going to go ahead and track this as well. And so what I'm going to do is come over here to Hotjar and hit new heat map, and let's see what it asks me. Name your heat mapper. Contact page. This heat map should record data from basic. Yeah, we're going to say basic. That's fine. Create a single heat map using data from a specific page, similar pages, users who trigger a JavaScript snippet. We're going to do a specific page and the URL, which I copied, and then I can now paste right here. Let's take a look at advanced options. Exclude elements from heat map. No. Custom screenshot page URL. I don't think we need that either. So I'm going to hit next. You're on fire. Start collecting heat map data. Yes. Create. Boom. So this guy, I want to change the name here. So let's go to this and see if it'll let me edit. I want to edit the name. Fix my site homepage, done. That's fine. All good. Put this back up here. Go back to heat maps. Nope. Save. Okay, so at this point, I should have my heat map on both pages. My tracking script is installed. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this run for a little bit, and we're going to start to collect some data. And it looks like there's a lot in here that we can do kind of above and beyond just installing a free heat map. So we're going to get into some of that, I think, in some future videos as well. But for right now, the most important thing is that I just want to start tracking some data that's hitting my site. So we're going to do that. We're going to let it run for a bit. Then we're going to come back and we're going to kind of see what that looks like. So as of right now, Hotjar is installed. I got emails popping up on my other computer from them saying, welcome to Hotjar and yada, yada, yada. Now it looks like there's a lot that we're going to be able to do with this free plan. So we're going to dig more into that in some of the future videos. But for right now, the most important thing was I need to learn what people are doing on my site. And that's the point of this. So we're going to let that run for about a week and start to collect some data. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what we found and just kind of show what that looks like. And then we're going to go from there. So, and 1, 2, 3, magic.